Thank you so much for that introduction, Lyles. Yes, like Lyle said, I am Holly Hufford, and today I will be going through unlocking the booking power of your lodging website. Here's an agenda for what I'll be discussing today. So first, I'll talk a little bit about myself so you can get to know me a little bit more. Then I'll discuss a little bit about rezStream. Following that, we will go through what you're all here for, unlocking the booking power of your lodging website. After that, I will go through a how we do it / case study. And in this scenario, I will be talking about a pop-up window. I will follow that up with a session recap. And finally, I will talk about a special offer. So a little bit about myself. Like Lyle said, I'm Holly Hufford, and I am a search engine marketer here at rezStream. Outside of work, I love to go camping with my dog Orville, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner. Orville is about 2.5 years old, and he is a Bichon Frise, and we love to adventure outdoors. In addition to camping, I like to travel more extended. I recently just got back from a trip to England. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can see me and some of my siblings standing in front of Stonehenge. Additionally, I like to travel in the United States as well. I enjoy baking banana bread, chocolate chip muffins, and chocolate chip cookies. I spend my evenings watching Denver sports teams, specifically the Avalanche and the Nuggets, and my favorite food is taco. I am based here in Denver, Colorado, which is where the headquarters of rezStream is. So a little bit about rezStream. Since 2005, we've partnered with small to medium-sized independent lodging properties throughout the United States. Our goal is to work with you to create easier ways for you to manage your business and improve your ability to increase revenue. So this webinar is a great example of how we would like to help you increase your revenue. We see ourselves as an extension of your team. We don't see ourselves above you or against you. We're a small company of 24 passionate individuals, and we are super caring about what we do, and we love the hospitality industry. Of the 24 of us, we have over 100 years of combined industry experience, and rezStream offers a suite of solutions focused on helping the independently owned hospitality properties. So now I will discuss unlocking the booking power of your lodging website, what everyone is here for. So here are the 5 main ways I've outlined how your website can assist in bookings, and I'll go through each one of these in more detail. But first would be including a call to action on your room pages. Next would be having a testimonials page on your website. Third is promoting specials prior to guests getting to the booking engine. Include helpful information on your website instead of clutter. Optimize your website for exposure and usability. And then finally, I just have a few additional best practices that are Spitfire, and I don't necessarily go into too much detail, but I thought were essential to just add to this presentation. So number 1, including call to action on your room pages. But to begin, I think that it's important to note that each room or each type of room should have its own page. Guests want to have a good idea of what their accommodation is like prior to their stay. So the top example, this property has multiple motel rooms. However, the motel rooms only have 3 varieties. So even though they have 30 room available, 10 look like the first one, 10 look like the second one, and 10 look like the third one. There's no point in having 10 pages that look just the same. But we do want to differentiate all 3 of those and not combine that into one. My second picture example is a property that has cabins, and each cabin has their own page because each cabin is different. And again, we don't want to combine those. So I think that it's important to note that having individual room pages is the first step to including a call to action. Next, throughout the text on each of those individual room pages I just discussed, link to important pages that are essential to the booking process. So an example I have is linking to the terms and condition pages. What are the terms and conditions maybe a guest would want to know prior to booking? And then in my screenshot on the right, I have internally linked things to do in Virginia Beach. This will help guests understand while they're booking at your property what there is to do nearby. Next, I have avoid linking to potentially distracting pages. This could be just overlinking that guests are going to get lost. We want them to make it from the top of the page to the bottom of the page, and clicking on a few essential links such as terms and conditions or things to nearby is beneficial. But something that rezStream has found successful is adding a sidebar. So here's an example of different activities that are near one of our properties. And we like this outline of a sidebar so that way guests can still read from top to bottom and get all the information they need. And then this is just additional helpful information, but it is a lot of information that could be distracting. Now, finally, to get to the main point of this idea is having an obvious call to action, such as a book now, book online, show rates button, or even a calendar. So this left example, there's a lot of information at the top, but it ends with bulleted amenities. So guests can look at that and quickly see, okay, this room sleeps 4 people with 2 double beds. That's exactly what I need. Book online, and it'll take them to the booking engine. On the right side is an example of a cottage calendar. So guests can see that in July 2023, the Friday and Saturday nights and majority of the Thursday nights as well are booked. And so maybe they realize that they need to find a different cottage at this property because this specific one is booked. My next suggestion is having a testimonials page on your website. The main goal of this is to keep potential guests on your website. If a guest were to leave your website to find reviews elsewhere, such as on Google or TripAdvisor, they may get distracted on those third-party websites because those websites are promoting other properties as well. On this testimonials page on your website, we would want you to promote recent reviews and promote positive reviews. We also suggest that you respond to all reviews, especially if they're not positive. I would say majority of people look at reviews prior to purchasing anything, but especially if it's an experience. And then additionally, sometimes how a property responds to a negative situation speaks more volumes than positive reviews. I'm sure maybe in the past you've seen a product where there's only 5-star reviews and you get a little suspicious. Maybe this is a scam. Are these paid reviews? Does everybody really think this way? But if you see maybe a few reviews that have 3 stars addressing, hey, there were no towels in my room, and then the property responds and says, oh, I'm so sorry. Please, next time you have this issue, reach out to the front desk immediately, and we would love to provide you with towels. That was oversight on our part. Additionally, please call us and we would love to XYZ. Now, that XYZ is for you to decide. Do you want to give them a discount in the future? Do you want to give them a discount off their most recent stay? Or do you just want to talk to them on the phone to make sure they're not upset and hopefully they'll book with you again? One thing that we suggest is using a testimonials plugin page and have its own page labeled testimonials. This is aligning with that goal of keeping guests on your website so they don't get distracted with marketing on other sites. This plugin is really awesome because it filters content to show certain review criteria. So if you only wanted to show 5-star or 5 bubble reviews, you can do that. Additionally, you can filter out certain keywords to show up on certain pages. So some of our properties have multiple streams of income on their land. And so half of it is maybe cabins and half of it is a wedding venue. We can set up the criteria where on a cabins testimonial page, we're only promoting reviews that are using the word cabin. And then on the wedding testimonials page, we're only using reviews that have the word wedding, just so it aligns better with exactly what that person is looking for. If somebody were to book a wedding on your property and they're only seeing cabin reviews, that can be a little discouraging because they're not finding exactly what they're looking for. And same on the vice versa. If someone's looking in a cabin, but all they see is wedding reviews, they can say, hey, you're really good at weddings, but that doesn't apply to me. What's additionally great about these testimonial plugins is they automatically update. So it saves you time without having to go in and always add up-to-date positive reviews. And this increases exposure for your property. We are not asking guests to leave a review exactly on your website. We are pulling from the Google and the TripAdvisor. And so if someone were to find your property through Google, they see positive reviews. If someone were to find your property through TripAdvisor, same thing. And that's what we want. If you don't have very many Google reviews or TripAdvisor reviews, someone may, go elsewhere to find a property that has more reviews. And so if we were to ask people for reviews on your website, that is not being shown on Google or TripAdvisor. But with a plugin similar to this, we can have people leave reviews on Google, TripAdvisor, and then streamline them to the website. So it hits two birds with one stone. The one bird of keeping guests on your website, and then two, increasing exposure. Additionally, I think that it is important to have a testimonials page, but you could add a testimonials plugin banner. And this could be on the homepage, for example. I'll talk later a little bit more about the importance of a homepage and what should and shouldn't be on that homepage. But long story short, to cut to the chase, having useful information on the homepage is essential. And previously, like I said, majority of people look at reviews before purchasing anything, especially an experience. And so streamlining that process and having a few testimonials on that homepage is beneficial, so they don't have to click to another page for testimonials and see the positive reviews that you are receiving. My third suggestion is promote specials early on in the booking process. Do not wait to promote a special once a guest has already clicked into the booking engine through your call to action. Chances are guests have booked into clicked into your booking engine because they're ready to book with the information they have. So if a guest is on your specific room page and they saw that example I gave earlier of, oh, there's 2 double beds, this sleeps 4, this is exactly what I need, they're ready to book. That was enough information for them to know that this cabin, for example, is perfect for them. If they make it to that booking engine and then they see there's a special that is, enticing, they do get a benefit after the fact, but we would like to promote those specials on the front end to encourage those guests that are more skeptical about booking to book prior so that they can actually make it to the booking engine. So right in the bottom right-hand corner, I have a screenshot of a client, and this is what their booking engine looked prior to becoming a marketing client. And there's a few issues in that. One, the specials were not being promoted anywhere on the website until they'd made it to the booking engine. So there were people willing to book without this discount. And again, it was causing a lot of clutter because guests had to scroll down so far to make it to the actual calendar to find the days that worked for them. Like I previously said, we want to capture those potential guests that are hesitant. One of the ways we can do that is a specials page. So here's an example of one of our marketing clients that has a specials page that offers 3 specials. So they have a stay 3, get the 4th night free, stay 2, get the 3rd night free, and then a midweek special. And you can cater this to whatever works best for your property. I do know that these specials are not available year round, but they are on the website year round. Just because if you're booking a year in advance, we do want you to know about maybe the specials that only are available in the summer. We do have some clients that have maybe a 5% discount for first responders or teachers or that sort of thing. And so it is showing appreciation to potential guests and providing that special without, you know, causing damage to your property. And I do want to say there's no point in giving a special too large if it is not beneficial to you. The happy medium of providing a discount or a special is enough discount that the potential guest is actually going to book, but not too much of a discount that it's not worth it for you. But again, it's vice versa. If you are only going to offer a 1% discount, nobody is going to bat an eye at that and maybe go elsewhere. So just finding that happy medium, and it's different for every single property. If you don't want to have a specials page all year round because you only have a few random specials, and maybe it's when you see that there is reduced occupancy, we can do pop-up windows. Here is an example of a pop-up window where one of our properties noticed that they did not have a lot of nights booked between a certain date and June 6th of this year, and so they were offering $30 off per night. This goes back to my first point of a call to action. They have a really bold book now button that you can click to encourage you to book and get $30 off your stay from the start date till June 6th. If you are interested in using a pop-up window, but you're not necessarily interested in the idea of offering a discount, we can use pop-up windows for awareness, especially when occupancy for a specific unit is low. So going back to this slide, this was $30 off per night in any of their rooms, but this property was having issues filling this specific room. There was no discount. They just wanted to bring awareness and say this room has 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Well, it's actually a vacation home, not necessarily just one room, but the vacation home has 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a large common space, and a full kitchen. And maybe this makes somebody's life a lot easier. They knew that they wanted to book in this certain area. They needed to sleep 6 people, and this is exactly what's perfect for them. My next point is include helpful information / don't include cluttering information. We want to make the booking process as painless as possible for your guests and potential guests. Like I kind of alluded to previously, the home page is the first page most people will see when they make it to your website. It is essential that your homepage is your best page because people are going to make a first impression about your property within seconds of landing on your website. We want to include that essential information and not include cluttering information. We want to get guests from point A to point B simply. See that straight line? There's no jagged, no confusion. And so, like I mentioned previously, maybe on the homepage, adding a banner with testimonials is positive. So that way guests can see, oh, a lot of people like this property, and that's encouraging to note. And then also linking to an accommodations page. The example I have in the upper right-hand image, they only have 3 types of rooms, and so they link to each room individually. So that is one option. However, if you have maybe 24 rooms, you would not want to list all 24 rooms on the homepage. That is clutter. You can link to that accommodations page, which then shows all the accommodations. Just another side note I'd want to add here is on that accommodations page, you can add a search filter to then make the booking process even less painful and more painless for those potential guests. The search filter can be super helpful when you have more rooms, to then only display potentially um, one beds that sleep up to two guests, three beds that sleep up to six guests, maybe ones that have a jacuzzi in the room or a balcony. Um, so maybe there's guests that do not want to have a balcony. They can click no, and it's only going to show them rooms that don't have a balcony. My guess is more people would want a balcony. They can click yes, and it's only going to show them the ones that do have a balcony. My next point is not as much in regards to the homepage, but maybe that main navigation that guests will see on that homepage. And we don't want to make that main navigation cluttered. So it's essential to add drop downs, as we can see in this screenshot I've included. But incorporating FAQ pages, a contact page, and directions, depending on where how your property is set up, can be considered helpful information. I think it's important to reflect internally on your property and get a good idea of maybe which questions guests are always calling to ask about. Now, there is a chance that all of your phone calls are, hey, do you have availability for X, Y, and Z? And you're just so booked that you can't help them. But if guests are always calling and saying, hey, are towels included in the room or do I need to bring them? You can take that note and maybe add that to an amenities bullet point list on the specific room page, but also add that to an FAQ page or even an amenities list. We have some clients that have an amenities list that include things such as amenities in the room as well as on the property. So on property amenities could include a swimming pool, and then in-room amenities could include toiletries, an ironing board, a hair dryer, etc. Additionally, adding a contact page. We would like guests to be able to book seamlessly without contacting you to book. But if they do have any questions, especially about availability, we do want them to be able to get in contact with you. There's nothing more frustrating than you having a question and you can't figure out how to have your question answered, and potentially they'll move on to one of your competitors. Contact pages are also nice to link to, maybe on your activities page where guests have already booked. Maybe they're in town visiting family, but they're staying in your hotel and they want to see what activities are nearby, and you offer the service of creating an itinerary for them based on their needs. They can contact you and say, hey, I have a family of 4. We're very outdoorsy. What do you suggest? That's a great way to use the contact page when they've already booked, which is awesome. It's not causing confusion and chaos in the booking process. But then they are taking advantage of your services. And this is a great chance to show off your customer service and show how helpful and responsive you can be, which will then result in nice reviews for future guests to see. And then finally, if your property is hard to get to, please include a directions page or a map page so that way guests are not calling you, trying to find you. The last thing we want is for guests to be super frustrated right before getting to their room, because I think a lot of people could agree, if you're already in a bad mood, you can find the negatives in a lot of other things around you. But if guests have access to a map and directions prior to their stay, they have a seamless time getting from their home to your home, or their vacation home. They'll be in a positive mood. And then when you're in a positive mood, you like to see positives, and they will have a good impression of their room for their vacation. Next, I wanted to include this in the helpful information portion because I do believe that a picture is really worth 1,000 words, and 1,000 words is information. So pictures are information. Please include recent, high-quality photos on your website to so guests have a good idea of what they are getting themselves into. I included an image on the right that is super blurry. This is not actually one of our clients' images. It's a very high quality photo that I put a filter over. But if I were a guest and I saw that image, I would be turned off. If you can't even get a high quality photo, what does it really look like? Are there stains on that bed that you're trying to hide from me? Are there water stains on the ceiling? That sort of thing. Um, and we understand that we can't always have the most recent photos, but if there's any upgrades or changes to the rooms, it's a great idea to just snap a few pictures so guests have a good idea. Even it be as simple as the bedspreads look different. And what's really great with the advancement of technology is majority of people have smartphones now where they can snap a pretty good picture with their iPhone or smartphone, and can upload it directly to the website. You don't need to go out of your way to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a professional photographer when maybe all you did was change out the bedspreads from white to dark gray. But that white to dark gray gives the room just a different mood, a different feeling that guests might be interested in. And so that's just something to keep in mind. Add recent photos, add high quality photos. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a professional. You can take images on your smartphone and upload them to the website. And this kind of goes back to my first point of having a specific room for, or excuse me, a specific page for each kind of room that you offer. Because if you are using the same 10 images to describe 10 different cabins, that is going to be unsuccessful, and guests are going to be completely confused if they're going to show up to cabin 10 when they saw pictures of cabin 1 that looks completely different. So it could take a little bit of time to go through and get high quality images of all of your rooms if you do have a wide variety. But it is going to be more beneficial in the long run. We've seen greater success with higher booking rates when there are more pictures and higher quality pictures than if there's fewer pictures and lower quality pictures. We do suggest adding images of pretty much everything in the room without going into too much of minute detail. So I know this image is blurry, but you can see it includes a window, the bed, bedside tables, lamps. That's good enough. We don't need one image of the bed, one image of the window, and one image of the bedside table. But then in your description, you can say, oh, this room has natural lighting and a queen size bed, et cetera, et cetera. We do like to include one image of the bathroom if there's a bathroom en suite or in your vacation home, just so that guests can get a good idea of if it's a shower, is it wheelchair friendly, is there a bathtub, and you can get a good idea of, are there towels available for me to use, are there toiletries available for me to use. I hope this goes without saying, of course, take pictures when the room is tidy, right before maybe a guest comes. So it really is a good, true depiction of what a guest can expect before they come. Um, Again, we don't need minute images of the bathroom. We don't need one of the toilet, one of the sink, one of the shower. Everyone's seen a bathroom before, but just one picture from the doorway, if you can see the whole bathroom from there, to give a good idea to guests. Some of you might have kitchens or kitchenettes, and just take a few images of that and highlight the most important aspects, such as maybe a dishwasher, an oven, a stove. Do they or do they not need to bring pots and pans, etc. I think that this is essential for each specific room page. Now, my next bullet point says gallery page. You can include a gallery page when you have a great overall property that you would like to promote, and there's more for the guests than just their room. I think it can get really confusing if you add a ton of room pages to a whole gallery page. Guests are going to have a hard time figuring out which bed belongs to which room and how is it beneficial or not beneficial to them, right? But a gallery page of the entire property could be great to highlight maybe what the front door looks like so they know where to go. Maybe what the swimming pool looks like, any outdoor games, any nearby picnic tables, fire pits, outdoor chairs, how close your property is to XYZ. Maybe you're right next to a river or the beach or a marina for a walk, that sort of thing. just to give guests a good idea of what the property looks like. Additionally, I will say we are leaning more toward a video centric society where people are looking past the photos and looking for videos. People have a short attention span, and if a picture's worth 1,000 words, then maybe a video's worth 1,000,000 words. So, again, with those smartphones that you have, whip it out and maybe take a quick tour of a room or the property to give spatial recognition to potential guests. And finally, do not clutter the booking engine or the website, specifically the homepage or the main navigation. So here is a screenshot example of one of our marketing clients. And as you can see, as soon as you hit the booking engine, there's no frou-frou on the top of the page. They can see exactly that calendar. They don't have to scroll down to find it, which could cause some issues in booking. Additionally, their main navigation has accommodations, amenities, add-ons, gallery, location, and contact. And those are the top most 6 important links, but all those also have a drop down. And so that's just important to note of we don't want to link 20 things on that main navigation. Find, I would say, the most important 5, 6, I think 7's pushing it maybe, and then drop down from there. I had an example earlier where on that contact drop down, they had a testimonials page, the directions, the FAQ page, and an in the media page. So, yeah, just some food for thought in regards to only including helpful information on the website and not including cluttering information on the website. But that also goes to your booking engine as well. Next would be optimizing your website. And this is more back-end stuff. So first is optimizing the functionality of your website. If your website takes too long to load, potential guests will leave. I think it's if a page takes more than 10 seconds to load, over 30% of people are going to click out, and we do not want those people to go to your competitor. Next would be optimizing the front end where guests can actually see the changes. And then also, this is going to increase exposure on those search engines such as Google and Yahoo and Bing. We, as a marketing team here at rezStream, optimize websites for our clients. So I'll talk more later about you joining, becoming one of our marketing clients. But suggestions would be to include effective keywords, headings, and subheadings. This is not only going to give your guests a really good idea of where you're located and what information is on each specific page, but it's also going to help Google understand what's on that page. So that way it can rank and show up for when people are searching queries. So if somebody is looking for cabins in Lapine, Oregon, we would want to have that search term on the page that says looking for cabins in Lapine, Oregon, yada, 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 right? A good heading would be the name of the actual room or cabin or cottage or vacation home. And then a subheading could be cozy cottage, so like let's say it's called Butterfly Cove. So your main heading would be Butterfly Cove, so they know exactly what it is. The subheading could be cozy cottage in Lapine, Oregon, and then in the text say looking for cottages in Lapine or what. Next would be removing duplicate content on the front end. And again, this is for your potential guest's sake and for Google's sake. If you're in the process of trying to book and you keep reading the same thing over and over and over again on different pages, it could be irritating because you don't need to read the same thing over and over again. You want new information that's going to make you have an easy time getting from point A to point B. But also, Google is less likely to rank your website as high when they are also finding the same information. They determine it as useless information of it's not that important if you have to keep saying it over and over. You're just wasting our time and we're not going to show that to our people. So that's something to look in at your website. Reviewing negative backlinks to ensure that your website is not associated with any scammy websites that could be preventing your website from increasing exposure on those search engines. Addressing local listings to make sure all the information about your property is accurate and up to date. So, this could include anything from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, your Google business listing, as well as any OTAs you may be on. Anytime even your name is spelled slightly different, it can cause a lot of issues with exposure. So if your property was Holly and Orville Cabins, and sometimes I spell and A-N-D, and other times it's ampersand sign, the internet, the search engines are going to have a hard time understanding that Holly and Orville Cabins, even though I'm saying it out loud the same way, is that really the same property? And so that's just something to keep in mind. Same with if you're spelling street versus ST period. We just want to keep everything uniform. And then lastly, I just want to point out that additional pages can add search volume and value to potential guests. And the example that I put there is blogging. And I think this is important to note because previously I was talking about adding helpful information and not including cluttered information. And so blogging is a good way for useful information to be on the website, but it's sectioned in a way that guests are only going to look there if they want to see that information and not bog down the process of booking. But also, maybe guests find your website when they're looking for something else. So previously, I gave an example of activities in Virginia Beach. So if you had a blog on your website about activities in Virginia Beach, and somebody is Googling about activities in Virginia Beach, they may find your blog and find it super insightful about the top 5 things to do with kids. They know that they want to go to Virginia Beach. They just wanted to make sure there was enough things to do for their family. Well, now that they've seen there's enough things to do with their family in the area, they actually do need a place to stay. They're confident that this is actually going to work out and they can book with you. Here at rezStream, we have a team member. Her name is Cass, and she did last month's webinar. If you haven't seen that yet, you totally can check out our past webinars. She also does social media, which is what that webinar was on. So if you have any interest learning more about social media, definitely check out her webinar in the education section of the rezStream website. But we have a marketing client that posts 3 blogs a month, and from November 1st to the end of May, so November 1st, 2022 to the end of May 2023, we saw over $60,000 in assisted conversion value. Now, assisted conversion value means that a guest spent time on the blog prior to booking, and we can assume it assisted in their decision to book. So we've seen a lot of value come from these blogs, and then additionally, the more pages that you have on the website, the more pages we can optimize and the more information can be put out to Google. And then all of these blogs are unique, so it's not going to be that duplicate. Okay, so now this is just like a little bit of bonus information that I'm going to spitfire some additional best practices. One, ensure your website and booking engine are mobile friendly. And I think that goes a little bit back to optimizing your website, but we're seeing more and more people book their travel accommodations on their cell phone. And if your website and booking engine are not mobile friendly, it can cause issues where, again, potential guests may lead to your competitors that are mobile friendly. Next would be promoting social media links on your website for credibility. If you have no external presence, people might be a little sketched out by your property. They want to make sure that you are legit. And so if you have a fully functioning and active Facebook and Instagram page, that will give potential guests ease of mind that you are serious and that you do spend time promoting this. And then the second benefit to that is maybe somebody's going to find your property through Facebook or Instagram. And then third, refrain from linking to OTAs on your website to encourage guests to book directly. And I didn't say do not link OTAs. I just said refrain, because TripAdvisor is considered an OTA, and I think it is beneficial to link TripAdvisor on your website just because TripAdvisor has the testimonials, and a lot of people are looking there to make their booking process easier because they trust and understand TripAdvisor. But if you want guests to book directly, it is not beneficial to, oh, sorry, maybe I should have mentioned OTA stands for online travel agency, and that is maybe booking.com, expedia.com, hotels.com, that sort of thing. But if you use those, you have to pay commissions. And if you book directly, or if somebody books directly with you, you don't have to pay those commissions. Additionally, you can have greater customer success with them because it's a point A to point B situation. There's no middleman who is, working between you two, which can cause some issues. So just something to keep in mind. Now I'm going to go through a how we do it / case study, and I'm going to talk specifically about pop-up windows. So a little bit about this property. They have 24 rooms available for booking. It's an adult-only environment with guests ages 12 and above. It's Victorian style, and there's no minimum night stay. And I just want to preface this so that way when I show you the results, you understand how many rooms are available, that this property is not going to work for just any average person visiting this area. Because if you have kids under 12, you automatically can't go here. Maybe Victorian style is not your style, and so you don't want to stay in that kind of place. And then again, there's no minimum night stay. If you do have a minimum night stay, sometimes you can't take advantage, or you cannot take advantage of, those one night Saturday nights passing through the town area. So just some little food for thought as we get into this case study. So the problem that this property had is they were having a hard time filling rooms in July and August. And previously, specifically before COVID, they had focused strongly on booking weddings in the summer. And these weddings could hold up to 150 people. And so if there was a wedding over the weekend, pretty much all the rooms were booked for that wedding. But the property has moved away from focusing from the wedding industry, and they're focusing more just on the lodging side of their business. So they needed guests to be aware of the summer availability now that they are focusing less on booking those weddings in the summer. So our solution for them was a pop-up window. One, we are encouraging guests to book by informing them of availability. Maybe there are people that have booked here in the past, not during the summer, but they knew the summer wasn't available due to all these weddings. And if someone were to come on the website, maybe in June and say, hey, I'm going to book for my normal, October stay. But then they saw, oh, wait, there's room in July and August. That's my preference anyway. I'm going to book. Next is offering a discount to promote the booking. That'll just encourage more people to book because they are receiving a 5% discount in this. There's an easy to see call to action. If you were to step away 20 feet from your website, you can still see that dark book now button right in the middle of the pop-up window. Your eyes get drawn there and you know that that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to click book now and get 5. It includes the contingencies so that way guests can understand that this is not going to work for everyone. It's only for stays between July 1st and August 31st, not valid with any other discount. And also, it's only for new stays. So if you already booked a stay from July to August and you were coming back to the website to see activities and you see this pop-up window, unfortunately, you can't take advantage because this is for new bookings only. And then we've added a countdown to the bottom that creates a sense of urgency of book now. You can take advantage of this discount now. You don't need to wait. And one thing that I do want to note, it's not in this screenshot, unfortunately, but if you do include pop-up windows on your website, please make a exit window or like an exit button in the upper right-hand corner super visible. Most people look to the upper right-hand corner for that box, the X box, and we We do want to make sure that's available because we do not want to anger potential guests. Pop-up windows can get annoying, but if you use like a bottom right-hand corner slide in, so it's not taking up the whole screen, there can be a lot of success in that. So that way they can keep doing what they're doing without getting distracted. But if there's no way to get rid of that pop-up window when it doesn't even apply to them, maybe they don't even want to book in July or August and they really do want to stay in September or October. Let's not, obstruct their view with this. So just like food for thought, make it easy to X out of a pop-up window. So the results we saw were that 478 people clicked on that book now call to action. So in the little bit of time that this was on the website, we saw over 2,500 people visit that homepage where the pop-up was. And then we saw, again, 478 people click on it, which is a conversion rate of 18.66. Now, just because somebody clicked on it does not necessarily mean that they did end up booking. And there could be a few reasons. One, still too expensive after that 5%. The exact room that they wanted for the exact dates that they wanted were not available, et cetera, et cetera. Thus far, this pop-up window has resulted in over $9,500 in revenue with 22 nights booked. And this pop-up is still available for this property. And so there will be more nights booked and more revenue as it continues to run. One thing I do want to say is if you're just trying to increase overall bookings for 2023 or 2024, you could offer the discount for a longer time frame and just say book anytime in 2023, but it has to be done by July 30th or something like that. Just so there is still some sense of urgency, so they actually do book it. But, stays in July and August only meet some people's criteria. And then if you want to see more people book, think about offering a larger discount than 5% if that works for you. But again, like I said previously, you need to find that happy medium for your property. You can't just offer a big discount if it's going to cause more harm than good for you. Now, a little bit of a recap. There's more than 5 bullet points just because each of those slides had a lot of steps to it. So, major takeaways. Ensure that specific rooms are identifiable. Take advantage of purposeful internal linking, but avoid over internal linking or linking to less useful pages. Use effective call to actions that are big, bold, visible, and are going to take guests to the booking engine. Utilize an on-site testimonials page, whether that be its own page, a banner on the homepage, or both. Capture guests with specials before they're in the booking engine. Or if you're not wanting to give a discount, include pop-up windows for those hard-to-fill rooms to bring awareness. Remember that the homepage is the first thing people will see, and people are going to make a first impression within the first few seconds. So make sure the most valuable information is visible. Make getting from point A to point B to point C as easy as possible. So point A is making it to the home page, point B is making it to a specific accommodation page, and point C is maybe putting their credit card information in the booking engine. We want to include helpful information to make that process as easy and quick as possible and avoid clutter. Optimize your website for increased exposure and then include mobile friendliness. So that way, no matter where your potential guests are booking from, they are finding your website and then able to book. And then link social media for credibility, and then do not link, maybe refrain from linking OTAs for you to avoid those commissions. I just want to say thank you so much for your time today listening to ways to unlock the booking power of your website. If you have any questions about this webinar, please send them to sales@rezStream.com, or you can call 303-872-0220. And previously, I had mentioned Cass's last webinar, but there's plenty to choose from in our education center on the website, which is www.rezstream.com/education. You can also find information about upcoming webinars as well. Now, in my original agenda, I had mentioned that there would be a little bit of a deal. So if you are not currently a marketing client, but you're interested in potentially becoming a marketing client of rezStream, reach out to the rezStream sales team, again at sales@rezstream.com, for our free marketing analysis of your property. This analysis is going to display exactly how rezStream can update your website to increase direct bookings to then increase revenue for you. Again, if you're not a marketing client, but you already use one of rezStream's other offerings, such as our booking engine or TCMS website, if you join a second offering from rezStream, such as becoming a marketing client, you will receive a discounted price for bundle. So again, thank you so much for your time. And now I'm going to turn it over to Wiles for a Q&A session.